Hey. It's Ben and
Will.
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh, stop it.
Alright. Hey, we're going to take
an
a...
asshole.
Yes, I am. We're going to take a look back to good old 1991 for an old television show we both grew up with. And we're going to hear the intro right now. Sir Owen, if you please, play the intro. Why is that canoe there?
It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it?
There's a skateboard with clay wheels and a scary-ass doll.
The house that Undertaker and Kane grew up in.
Satan's behind that door. And of course, we're talking about...
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
A show that is, in my mindset, parallel in greatness to like Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, stuff like that. Which, if you know me, I love Twilight Zone. Like, seen every episode, everything.
Well, Ben is better versed on this show than I was, because when this show came out, I think I was like 3, maybe 4 years old at the time.
I was younger than you.
And he remembers it better because he's been able to have access to watch the episodes. I haven't, and plus, I haven't seen this show in 15 years, so it's been quite a long time.
Yeah.
But I remember when it used to come on Snick all the time, and I would sit there and watch it, and some of those stories were really actually pretty creepy. I mean, they weren't
super terrifying.
They weren't gory. They didn't have blood and guts. They were just...
Some did.
Well, some did, but they always had a happy ending at the end.
No, not some of them.
Well, some of them didn't, but most of them, the main character's conflict got resolved.
Yeah, like 90% of the time, or it was like a happy story with a super happy ending.
Yeah.
And everything got resolved.
The intro was cool as shit.
Oh yeah, the intro. Whew, that's scary.
Why is that canoe there?
Why is that canoe there? Why?
Nostalgia galore.
Basically, I lost my train of thought. Oh, if you're a really big super fan, if you have Amazon Instant Watch, like if you're a member of Amazon Prime, about 3/4 of the episodes that aired are free streaming right now.
Wow.
Which is for like the past 3 weeks.
Good deal.
That's all I've been doing, is watching every episode.
Obsession.
I do. And also all that and Keenan and Kel are on there now. So.
Oh, wait.
And the Amanda Show.
Speaking of...
Hi, Amanda Bynes.
Yeah. By the way, stop calling people ugly and take a look in the mirror.
And you're making an album with Wiz Khalifa. Stop.
And well, speaking of obsessions, I'm not really one that should talk. Because look at some of my obsessions.
Batman.
Yeah.
So
look at the shirt I'm wearing, people.
Let's continue. I kind of want to talk about why the show was so... It was really successful. Like,
it's a cult favorite.
There's like 4 seasons of it, I think.
6.
6? There's 6? Okay.
It ran from 1991 to 1999.
Well, it had like a hiatus too. There was
Yeah.
like a 2 or 3 year hiatus where like nothing was going on with the show, and then they brought it back for like a...
They had like a second generation.
Yeah, they had like a 4 or 5 show revamp.
So,
I didn't like the revamp.
No, the original show was better, and it was always... They were always
98's when it ended. We're looking at...
they were always in the woods, and they were always around. And if any of you have ever sat around a campfire telling ghost stories, this is sort of taking ghost stories to a different level.
Yeah. Basically, what the emphasis of the show was, like the story of the show, is that a bunch of kids, like junior high, like maybe early high school age, or they like once a week they go to this secret place in the woods. They're called the Midnight Society.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And
what were they called?
The Midnight Society.
How cool is that?
Very scary and awesome. So they would go to this like area in the woods. They had like chairs and logs set up, and they would tell ghost stories. And someone's telephone's ringing. We'll wait. No, we won't. Anywho, so what they would. The Libyans! I hope they don't find the pinball machine uranium that I gave them. So, anywho.
You gave the Iranians, or the Libyans, a pinball machine?
That's what happened
in uranium?
Yeah, that's what happened in Back to the Future.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
Well,
but
classic. Anywho.
We have to go back.
I know. Heroin knee over the arm. So, they would tell ghost stories that people have already stopped watching. Yes. They would tell ghost stories.
Not your average ghost story.
No, they would have very, like, M. Night Shyamalan twists and turns.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
It was kind of like it was kind of like Tales of the Crypt, only Tales of the Crypt for kids, and you didn't have the really weird skeleton Crypt Keeper popping up and going I'm going Tales from the Crypt,
which was an awesome show.
Yeah.
I might do that later.
Only one I remember is one Arnold Schwarzenegger guest starred on.
Yes, it was bad.
Yes, it was bad.
So this show was filmed in Canada. So like Rush, wrestling, beer, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and hockey.
Maple syrup.
The only things that good that come out of Canada.
Trish Stratus.
Okay. Owen's signaling me. I don't know what he's signaling.
Great comedians, of course.
Oh, Jim Carrey. There's
Second City Television came out of Canada.
Kids in the Hall.
Oh, definitely Kids in the Hall.
Totally forgot about Kids in the Hall. So, yeah, obviously cool things came out of Canada.
Except for that one guy that went crazy and killed his entire family and himself.
Chris Benoit?
Yeah, that guy.
Well,
we don't talk about him, though.
We're talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark.
I've mentioned him a couple of times, actually, in videos recently.
Okay.
It's taboo.
Is it?
Yeah.
Whoops-a-daisy.
We're going to hell.
Isn't it taboo that goof from the Black Eyed Peas?
Yes.
Okay.
It's also another word for things that you're not supposed to talk about. But
like the Black Eyed Peas. Now continue.
So...
I didn't say that, he did.
You're right, I did.
Just skip to this point in the video if you're trying to get... Anyway, so... a lot of different scenarios were brought up. A lot of these stories were all based on, like, kids in high school and, like, ghosts they would encounter, or, like, crazy gypsies, or
clown dolls.
Or Zebo the Clown.
Oh, my... I was actually looking that up before I came here.
Zebo
about how he wasn't in these episodes, but he was referenced, and he was
Zebo's in one.
He was a janitor in one episode, I think.
Zebo's in Laughing in the Dark, which is the one which is super scary because the guy that plays Dr. Vink is like, you're only having fun when you're laughing in the dark, and it's just like, what the this is a children's show. So
yeah. And he was referenced in a few other episodes.
He was referenced anytime there was basically a circus episode.
And he was a janitor.
There was like flyers for Zebo. I think he was.
Yeah, he was a janitor in one of the episodes.
But there were
I remember that now.
Yeah, there were so many guest stars too. Gilbert Gottfried's in my favorite episode. Crazy ass Gilbert Gottfried's in The Tale of Station 109.1, which is a story about a kid who's obsessed with being dead. And he listens to the radio a lot, and...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He goes to the radio station, and, like, Gilbert Gottfried, like, slaps the armband on him. He's like, you're in wine! And...
What was the one where the kid kept daydreaming, and he ended up being a superhero, and all of the... It was one where...
He wrote comics.
He wrote comics, and, like, the creature came to life, and he would, like, bite them or something, and they would, like... ooze like blue slime.
Yeah, and they would like turn into like a drone. Yeah, and they had to erase him.
Yeah,
like that's what they had to do.
I remember that.
I ruined the ending of that one.
I remember that one.
But yeah, there were so many like, again, the show was so prominent because it had so many. It was well written for a kid's show, like especially like the early cuts of the like early 90s. You know, you had Legends of the Hidden Temple, which won, like, best children's game shows for, like, 4 years in a row.
With your guide, Kirk Fogg!
He retweeted me once. That was actually...
Here he is now!
Klaus the Fish from American Dad, same voice.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Wow.
That would be... I can't remember his name.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, early 90s Nickelodeon definitely had this, like, we're going to be a little bit more out there, because they weren't...
Stickly.
Yeah, they weren't trying to just appeal to younger kids.
No.
Like how Nickelodeon's a little bit shaped today. They were shaping more towards, let's get that, like, 14-year-old demographic.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this show was that they would tag it on when they would do the Snick thing on Fridays and Saturdays.
Snick was on Saturday night.
You would have it be, you'd have 3
Ren
or
and
4.
Stimpy,
You'd have, all that.
Forrester Explains It All that. Key and Kel.
You would have all these different shows that were, one was animated, but they were all comedy shows.
Yeah.
And then you would have...
At
this would be the last show
or
that would come
8:30
on.
or 9:30, it was Are You Afraid of the Dark?
That would be the last show that came on for that block of time.
And then, like, you
had...
had...
I think Snick started at, what, 7? And went from 7 to, like, 9:30?
7 to 9:30 or something like that. I'm
so
sure
you would get
someone's going to comment the actual time.
Yeah, someone probably will.
Us.
But we can't think back that far. But anyway, you would get all of these, comedic shows, and then you would have that you would have Are You Afraid of the Dark at the end.
And you would be afraid, like, you wouldn't be afraid, but, like, your cousin would be like, dude, Are You Afraid of the Dark's on next? And you're like,
You'd be like,
let's go to bed.
I gotta go to the bathroom,
Yeah, but...
I'll be in there for, like, the next 30 minutes.
But then you would just be like, you know what, I'm going to watch this, and none of the episodes, like, ever gave me nightmares or anything like that. But they were creepy, man. Like,
yeah, they were. There was some creepy shit.
Especially when you're, like, that it's super impressionable age, when you're, like, basically for me it was, like, 2 to, like, 8 when the show was, like, airing a lot.
I think for me it was from, like, 3 to, like, probably about 8 or 9.
Yeah, somewhere around that period of time. So I mean, you really got this, like, haunting look at, like, view of reality, like, once a week, especially when you were younger.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the show's really prominent, especially with our age group, like, like the generation, whatever hell generation we are. We're not Y, we're after Y, maybe.
The other thing that was interesting, and I was thinking about this before we came over here to the Pop Studios to shoot this video, was about how if Nickelodeon would ever try to bring the show back now. And I don't think
it would be difficult.
It would be, and I think it would be for a certain amount of reasons. I think because everything is so stylized now with the way that the horror genre is. It's all about...
It's very much more about blood and guts than it is
about
twists
or psychological kind of stuff. I mean, it could work, and people who watched the show originally would probably really be very happy about it and would get on board with it. But I think for this generation, that's not our generation, as you pointed out, Ben.
Yeah,
I think it would be difficult because they'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" And then then you would have to have our generation explain why this show works so well. But I think in the way that things are right now in our society, especially with the horror genre, it just wouldn't work.
It could work again, but what would happen is this.
It wouldn't work as well.
It would be bloated with, like, oh, this week, blah, blah, blah from Victorious is on.
Blah, blah, blah.
And this week, Jerry Traynor is, like, the bad guy.
This week, it's Miranda
Cosgrove. We're not going to talk about that. Or Jeanette McCurdy's,
She could actually play somebody scary, though.
Yeah, well, she's on a few episodes of Law & Order SVU as a little girl, and she's a rape victim, and she, like... It's scary to watch.
I don't doubt that she could play like a scary bad guy.
I think she could.
And pull it off.
And I've said this before. I think she has the biggest shot of, like, transitioning out of, like, not becoming Amanda Bynes. Hi, Amanda Bynes. So
we hate you.
I don't hate you. I just want to see you get better and not make that album with Wiz Khalifa.
Actually, you're right. I'm sorry. We don't hate you. We just think you should shut your mouth.
No, I just want you to get
Twitter.
better. Do that, but get better. Please get better.
Stay off Twitter.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark was very prominent.
Yeah.
It had staying power to where, like, after season 1, they weren't like, let's cut this.
Yeah. It's very rare that most shows, especially for a show that wasn't, a comedy, which is what Nickelodeon was doing a lot. It still does, but was doing a lot of at that time.
I think they waited a year after the pilot, which aired on Halloween of '91. I think they actually
October
aired
31st.
Yeah, I think they aired it in '92. It was like when they first started airing the episodes regularly. So maybe they were like, we'll table it, we'll see what's going on. I think they were maybe trying to line up guest stars, which they did.
I think one of the things that was that I pointed out that was so interesting was the fact that Nickelodeon, as it is now and as it was then, it was all animated shows. We had Doug, we had Rugrats, we had Hey Arnold, we had Kenan and Kel, we had all that, we had all these shows, but they were all comedy.
They were all comedy.
They were all comedic-driven shows, and then you had Are You Afraid of the Dark, which is a complete, change from the formula that Nickelodeon has established.
And they've never done anything like this again.
No, they haven't. It was actually, it's a shame that they haven't because it works so well.
But again, I think if they did now, it would be.
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would be pretty
John Cena
difficult
would be
to do
a guest star, and then time would stop.
Oh God, let's not even entertain that idea.
You have shirts of him. He was on the Fred movie.
He was in both of them.
Gonna take a nap.
He was Fred. What are you gonna do now, Dad? I'm gonna take a nap.
He was very upset about taking that nap.
And he's also in Fruity Pebbles commercials now.
God help us.
Thank you, Rock.
This is turning into not a Are You Afraid of the Dark movie.
Well, we're making a lot of references to...
We are.
So it's still an Are You Afraid
of
the Dark movie.
Okay, the big thing, like recently watching the show, the recurring characters are my favorites. Dr. Vink. Do you remember Dr. Vink?
Vaguely.
Crazy ass dude.
What was the guy that always tried to sell you? That would always wanted to sell you
Sardo.
And he would always say it was not...
It's no mister, accent on the dough.
Yes, that always made me crack up.
He was like a magician shop owner for a few episodes. He was like always getting into hijinks.
He was great.
He was really cool. Dr. Vink, super like
Dr. Vink.
And he people would call him a nutbag like a mile away.
I'm not a nutbag.
And he'd be like, I am not a nutbag.
I am not a nutbag.
One of my favorite episodes has him in it, where he brings the Nosferatu movie to the theater.
I remember
and Nosferatu comes out of the picture.
Yeah, I remember that.
But he saved the theater because Dr. Vink's a lunatic, and Lord knows. In the episode where he's like turning people into soup, that's who.
Well, and what's interesting is that about this show is that it's more old school kind of horror than what we have now. Like
It's definitely more psychological, like Twilight Zone.
If these kids had sort of told a story, like, I know I'm stretching here, but if these kids had sort of told a story about Michael Myers, it would be believable. It would work within that context because that's more...
It wouldn't fly on children's TV.
It wouldn't fly on children's TV, but it's the type of story that
that would happen now.
That they could tell because it's not blood and guts. It's more about psychological kind of.
And like I said, it's very parallel to Twilight Zone because you'll have episodes of the Twilight Zone, which most of them are, where there's like no one's dying in it. There's not a monster chasing anyone. Just one of my favorite episodes of Twilight Zone is The Obsolete Man, where the guy's brought on trial in this futuristic court kind of setting, and he's being tried for reading the Bible and being backward in the society, so they...
Did you read the Bible, Ben?
No. Not on camera, I don't.
Sorry, I had to.
Anywho. The screen. There's right at the bottom of the screen. So... That's the Lewis Black joke. I can't steal that.
That was so good, though.
Oh, he's got perfect delivery. So, what was I saying?
You were talking about the Twilight Zone and one of your favorite
the Obsolete Man. So they sentenced him to be executed, and the guy goes to his room because he's like, well, how do you want to die? And the guy's like, well, I'll put a bomb in my room and it'll explode at midnight. And the guy's like, okay, cool, whatever. So the overseer guy goes into the room. He's like, do you want to beg for your life? Haha, you're on TV, like it's being filmed. And the guy's like, nope, just going to sit here and read my Bible. And the guy's like, okay, cool. And he tries to leave and the door's locked. And he's like, oh crap, I'm going to die in this room. The overseer's thinking this. And the guy that's reading the Bible is like, oh, whatever. God's on my side, obviously. So the overseer then says, in the name of God, let me out. And the the dude that's being executed, like minutes before the bomb sets off, is like, "In the name of God, I will let you out." And he lets the guy out, and then the guy leaves, and then the bomb explodes, and the Bible guy dies. So then the overseer's now on trial for believing in God. So twists and turns, it's that kind of stuff.
Right. Much like Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they rebooted Sleepy Hollow once. Not my favorite.
I remember that episode.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was okay.
I actually thought it was good.
They had to tell Ichabod Crane to go the way that he's meant to die, or they would be killed. So they had to like go back and tell Ichabod Crane.
And then wasn't at the end of that episode the guy that was on the horse with the pumpkin? Didn't he like appear in the woods and like chase after?
He chased out. Yeah, he chased after the kids.
And they had to like quickly dump the water on the fire, and they ran off.
Something. No. That didn't happen at the end of the episode.
Okay. I thought I saw that happen.
Maybe that happened.
One of them dressed like him or something. I don't remember.
Maybe
because
they
were always pulling pranks on one another to get the others ready for the story they were going to tell. And they would always take it. They always had that bag, and they would always throw the.
They would throw the. I guess it's called magic dust or
sugar.
Midnight.
It was actually sugar.
Magic dust. Weed.
Onto
the fire.
Magic sugar. And then they would always say, "Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, I call this story."
Tale. And then it would be like the tale of the Blobbity Blue. So.
and it was always. And then, they would start off by saying, they would give some backstory about the characters, and then it would segue.
It'd be like a prologue, and like the character was like,
story.
Sarah was a girl, and she was in high school, and blah, blah, blah. And she liked this boy, and blah, blah, blah. But then the gypsies come, and the gypsies ruin everything. Oh, there's actually a ton of episodes with gypsies.
Yeah, there are, actually. I remember that.
Oh.
And the guest stars that you mentioned, Gilbert Godfrey, Melissa Joan Hart.
Bobcat Goldthwait, another one of my favorite episodes.
I think
he's the Sandman.
Tia and Tamara Mallory.
Yeah.
They were on there.
They're wizard people.
Yes.
In that episode, they were wizard people.
Trying to think of any, but Will Friedle, there's another one.
Ryan Gosling is in the episode, yeah.
That's right, he was too.
Super, super young, so all you, like...
And you gotta remember, most of these people would become future stars later on.
Yeah, this is like... This was one of their platforms.
This was sort of before they,
Well, not Tia Tamara, they were like superstars.
I think Boy Meets World had started already.
Yeah, this was...
So these were people that were...
That was like 89 or 90.
These were celebrities that were on the road to becoming established stars, or would become established stars later on. They were on the cusp of becoming the next breakout stars for that, for our generation. So
let's talk about a few more of my favorites.
I really don't... I can't really offer any favorites because I haven't seen the show in so long.
Well, I'll remind you of some of them. The episode, the pinball machine at the mall.
Oh, yeah.
Because I work at the mall, and I feel like I'm trapped in the mall all the damn time.
I do remember that episode. Did he ever make it out? I forget.
No. That's one of the ones with the bad endings.
Yeah. He ended up dying.
He's working... No, he didn't die.
He didn't die. Is that the one where Zebo was... No, that's not
Zebo's not in the one.
Zebo's not in there.
What happened is, this kid goes to the mall, and he works at this repair guy's shop. And the repair guy is like some weird scumbag guy.
I remember.
And he's like, alright, I'm going to leave you in charge for like an hour, but don't play the pinball machine in the back room.
And he always would go back and play
And he'd always play pinball in the back. Which I would do, because I love pinball. So... and actually, this is one of the reasons why I love pinball. Is because every time I play it, I think I'm going to be trapped in the mall. So...
Wait, that's why you play
That's why.
Even when you're not in a mall and you play... Okay.
Yep.
That's...
Even when I'm at Chuck E. Cheese,
so
I'm
you were at my house,
Chuck E. Cheese.
If you were at my house and I had a pinball machine, you would think that you would be trapped in my house?
No, in a mall.
You think that you would be trapped in a mall at my house?
In the mall the kid's trapped in.
Okay.
Has to be that one. So...
because it can't be any other mall.
I wonder if there's a unnamed shoe store I work at. We're censoring because who knows if my boss might be watching.
Name and address withheld.
So the kid...
Made him laugh.
So, the pinball machine has a theme. It's like you save the princess. You have to, like...
Yeah, I remember. It was like a Mario. It was like a Mario game.
Yeah, kind of. So he stops playing the game and he like looks outside in the mall hallway and like no one's there. He's
Doesn't the princess come out of the pinball machine and tell him he has to save her? Or
pretty much. So he's like walking around. He's like, dude, where is everybody, man? And then zombies come that are like dressed up like legit.
That was the worst zombie impression ever.
This is me flipping William off.
Look, zombie robots. They're a fire in their laser.
They didn't have lasers. They looked like street performers in Los Angeles. They were like all silver painted, like Ray-Ban sunglasses and fedora hats.
What was the one with wasn't there one with a camera where a kid had a camera?
If you took a picture,
they
started
were like
dying.
Yeah, or they were like disappeared or something.
Yeah.
And then there was
Back to the Future. Again,
yeah, and then there was another one. It may have been the same episode where, this kid was like writing down names of people. Maybe it was that same episode. He wrote down the names of the people that he had taken pictures of, and then they would disappear after he wrote. Or was that a different episode? I forget.
I think that is a different episode, but same theming.
Yeah, he would write their names down, and then they would disappear.
Yeah,
something like that.
It was like pretty much like a monkey's. No, the episode with the monkey's paw is really good, which is a retelling of an old folk tale.
I think I remember that one. Yeah,
because like the dead grandpa comes back, and they're like, "Isn't your grandpa dead?" And like there's a car pulling up. This is grandpa's car.
Anyway, go on with what you were saying.
Oh, about the mall. Yeah. Sorry, we're all over the place today.
But it's cool.
Mr. West. I won't get into that right now.
Oh, that's for later.
Yeah, much later. So he's like walking around the mall and he sees zombies, so he's like spraying water at them, and the zombies die.
It's because zombies are affected by water.
It's a pinball machine, so
I know
the rules are different.
But still.
And he finds this princess girl, and she's like, "You gotta get my crown, and you gotta get me on the throne." And there's a witch trying to kidnap the girl.
Is the princess hot? I forget.
Yes,
okay,
but Kristen's gonna be watching this. So
I, however, can say whatever I want.
She's like 13, so me saying that is super scary.
She's not 13 now, though.
I haven't seen a picture of her now.
You could probably find one.
I'll play my fiddle. So, anywho, he gets really close to beating the game, but then he loses, and he has to start over again. Well, then he does everything right, and he gets the squirt gun, and he kills the guy, and kills the witch, and blah, 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 and saves the princess, and then he wakes up at the beginning of the mall again. If you've ever read the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, you know exactly what I mean when you're pissed at the ending, because it's exactly the same at the beginning! Anywho.
Calm down.
I'll calm down.
Calm your tits.
I will. Sugar tits. Anywho. And it begins again. Then he sees this large pinball rolling down the escalator at him, and you see.
Oh yeah,
and you see the scumbag guy playing the pinball machine, like, "Now you're trapped in here forever."
Yeah, I remember.
And the episode ends. That's a crappy ending to the episodes. Like, not everything worked out.
But it made you, think. That,
it's a twist and turn.
It was left open ended like that because it was up for your.
He's still playing the game.
Yeah, it was up for your interpretation. Like, what would happen if maybe he would find a way to eventually get out of the mall?
Well, what he would have to do is someone would play the pinball machine.
Yeah, exactly.
And
maybe
do
he
a
could trick.
switcheroo.
Yeah, exactly. So you were left for. It was up.
He never got that hot girl, dude. He never got laid.
All that work for nothing.
Teardrops.
All that work for nothing, man.
Just like Link. Teardrops for Link and Zelda. So, I'm just trying to think of a few more real quick. Now that I'm just rambling like in...
What about the Zebo episodes, Ben?
Zebo the clown! He loves cigars.
Yes, he did.
He loves cigars. And, this kid... Like, Zebo was this, like, guy that, like, stole the payroll for the circus, and he died in the burning of a haunted house. And he still lives there. If you take the wrong door, Zebo kills you, whatever. So, but this kid took Zebo's nose.
That's right.
He took his nose, and he's like, "You have to wear Zebo's nose," to the kid that didn't go in. And Zebo's like, And, So Zebo starts haunting
That was
him.
Zebo's exact reaction.
Yes. No, Zebo starts scaring the hell out of this kid, and he's like, "Give me back my nose, man."
He was always appearing at the most random moments.
he would like call him at his house.
Or the kid would be laying there, like, in his bed, and all of a sudden, like, Zebo would, like, slowly rise
like smoke.
up.
No, like smoke
Yeah,
would start
smoke
like,
would
because
start-
he would
yeah.
smoke cigars.
Yeah. From under the bed.
He opened his dinner one time. That was like mac and cheese, and there was just a Z and cigars in the pot. So Zebo was trying to get his nose back. And dude, once you return the nose, Zebo was chill. Like that's all Zebo wanted. So Zebo's actually a decent guy to go along with. So
he's even a janitor in a later episode.
He is. I can't remember that episode. There's an episode with like people like there's like monsters growing in like a private like boarding school like in the basement of one, and like they're aliens or some shit.
I think I remember that one as well.
They fed the kids this stuff that like brainwashed them to like go feed the
Oh,
aliens, right, or something like that.
yeah.
And the new kids wouldn't eat
I know
it, so they were like walking
yeah.
around at night like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So many episodes that were just golden. An episode I totally forgot about was the prom queen episode. These kids are hanging around a cemetery and they find this girl. And they're like, yeah, like every year at prom, like this girl that died going to prom, or like the boyfriend didn't pick her up, she died, like someone hit her with a car.
Oh, I remember that
But the entire time, it was the girl that was talking to these guys, she was their girl. She was close.
I remember that.
And they sent the message to the dead boyfriend because he was upset and he like careened off dead man's curve.
Yeah, I remember that episode. I do.
So they told him to pick her up. Obviously he's dead. I don't know. So, but sure enough, they were like waiting at the cemetery. Like, hey, where's Tiffany or whatever?
Where's blah 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 blah?
Where's Blobbity Blue? And then sure enough, this old like Chrysler comes rolling up.
Yep.
It's the ghost Chrysler.
I remember.
And the girl gets picked up, and then they live happily ever after in hell or wherever they're going. Because they're sinning because they're having sex in the back of that car.
They're ghosts.
People are going to be very afraid of me once they see all these videos.
They're ghosts. What kind of sex are they having, man?
Ghost sex.
Oh my god.
Come together with your hands.
Stop it.
The Spoon Man by Soundgarden. Just Soundgarden?
Just stop it.
It's not Smashing Pumpkins, it has to be Soundgarden. I always get the two mixed up. It's not Smashing Pumpkins, I know that. It's Soundgarden. You don't know, because I've never heard Dark Side of the Moon. I know, right?
We're talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark, not what I haven't
Sir
listened
Owen
to.
is just like... He's like Cosmo Kramer when Jerry's out of food.
Okay, you know what? Fuck both of you, alright?
You've never heard the best album ever, and that makes me sad. Guess what you're getting for your birthday?
Gee, I wonder.
We should listen to it. Anywho, I guess that's really all I wanted to go about. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling right now. But yeah, those episodes, they're so just timeless to me. I can still watch them. Yeah, everyone's dressed up, in 90s garb, and everyone's like wearing like LA Gear sneakers and
the plaid hoodies with the hoods on them.
I was there in the baggy ass cargo pants.
The baggy ass cargo pants. Yeah.
We were there. We were alive. Barely. I mean, we were there, but
I'd been alive for a few years.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be 25 in August.
I'm gonna be 26 this month.
We're going to casket shopping, both of us. So,
I'm not ready to start shopping for my casket just yet.
Well, I'm getting cremated. They're putting me in Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones on vinyl.
You've told me.
It's a good investment. I mean, it's cheaper.
Why are we talking about death?
Are you afraid of the dark?
Well, yeah, but we're talking about our deaths. Shouldn't we be talking about the show more? Never mind.
Doesn't matter. So, I mean, really, I guess I'm just going to end on, man, it's a good show. If you have Amazon Prime, you have Amazon Instant Watch, I highly recommend.
Netflix?
It's on Netflix because Viacom owns Take-Two.
No,
Amazon Prime has all the Viacom rights.
But it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. If you're a cheap bastard.
Yeah.
Owen's looking up something right now.
He's looking up the show.
.ag. Prime Wire, is that like Live Wire or Lime Wire? Fishhooks is on there. Hot damn.
But no, I agree with Ben. It is a good show, and you know, it's one that should be remembered because it's such a cult favorite.
I don't even know what the hell that was.
Yeah, I don't know what that
that was an ad.
Totally lost my train of thought, but anyway, it's one that
Celebrity Deathmatch?
It's one that's a cult favorite, and you know, if like Ben said, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, do so. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the show is on DVD, and you can get it on DVD.
Super expensive.
So
I highly recommend just paying for Amazon Prime. It's $80 a year, but you get a lot of other crap. You get 2-day free shipping.
Yep.
Amazon.
Yep.
You know you love me. Send me some money.
Ben and I hope you have enjoyed this trip down nostalgic lane here, because it's very nostalgic for both of us. So
very much so.
We hope you've enjoyed it, and just remember, when you're watching the show, just be sure to ask yourself this very inquisitive question: why was that canoe there?
Why? I'm ending it now.